My audience is cloud seeding. We all are aware that not all clouds can create rain, but even if they do, only a few of them manage to gather enough moisture to create rainfall. But it only creates mist and cloud dissipation. Hence, I stand here before you to argue that cloud seeding offers a beacon of hope for such grave issues of basic human necessity. The last year, we saw Karnataka invest about 45 crore of cloud seeding program to modify the weather conditions hovering around its dry lands. In the same period, about 350 km inland in Raichur and its neighboring districts were about to suffer the seventh drought of the decade. They were facing about less than 20 millimeter of rainfall in the last 10 days. This kind of grave issue was eradicated by the immediate use of cloud seeding. I will further process by saying that cloud seeding has also helped in improving the conditions in the upstream regions by regulating water cycles, which has in turn helped in reducing the risk of floods. As a result, I would like to speak that in the last year when we saw that there was a new amount of kind of droughts in south.
One moment.
In conclusion, I would like to speak that the more the water wealth of a nation is, the more will be the agricultural productivity and industrial growth in the country, which will henceforth benefit the economic growth as well. That's why I feel that cloud seeding in the past years have proved to be the one solution for that. And as we, the sole authority behind the control of nature, we should be aware of the consequences and further consider the benefits of such man-made innovations only till it's needed. Thank you.
You have one question. You haven't asked a question yet, right? Yeah, so you can ask.
A very good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, it's not 12 yet. I first of all extremely sorry, but I could not understand half of what you said. But and you talked about Maharashtra in the years 2003 and 2004. Were the results of cloud seeding what we actually expected to happen? It was not actually, as the data says, but we also faced a huge loss in financial. How would you respond to that?
Is that, as I said, that using cloud seeding is behind the control of human nature, but the fact that the researchers haven't found the solution of having the exact amount of cloud seeding in climate, so I don't think it's a control of our humans to
Diksha, you've actually replied to his question. You want to add something more?
Yes.
Yeah.
What I would like to say is that it's not in our control to dictate the result of the sir, I would like
Answer the question actually by saying that you cannot control it. It's not an exact science.
yes, sir.
Okay. Sit. Thank you. Shubhamshi Chatterjee from DPS Joka.
Can a volunteer please accompany Ms. Lama and guide her to where she needs? A volunteer please. Yeah. Thank you. Please carry on.
Hello? Rainfall. So essential, isn't it? Imagine a world where with the flick of a switch, we could command the skies to shower us with rain. Seems a scene straight out of science fiction, doesn't it? Well, this is what the idea of cloud seeding actually suggests, but is it practical? Creating rain in a country where 75% of the population is engaged in agricultural activities and 45% of the total net zone area is rain-fed seems to be an appealing refuge. However, the positive effects of cloud seeding are actually overshadowed by its shortcomings. A very good morning to one and all present over here. This is Shubhangi Chatterjee of Delhi Public School, Joka, South Kolkata, and today I feel indeed privileged to stand before you all to shed some light on how and why cloud seeding is not a feasible method in our country. Cloud seeding is basically a type of weather modification which aims at increasing the amount of precipitation by releasing several harmful chemicals into the environment, which include silver iodide and potassium iodide. But scientific researchers have shown that it leads to only 10 to 15% increase in rainfall, which is hardly substantial when dealing with drought conditions. Moreover, cloud seeding is not at all a one-size-fits-all solution. It is highly dependent upon the existing weather condition. If silver iodide accumulates in the environment, it can contaminate water, soil, vegetation, and wildlife. China's aggressive methods of cloud seeding during the 2008 Beijing Olympics led to serious health concerns, which included skin issues and respiratory diseases. When scientific researches were carried out, it was found that the reason was excessive accumulation of silver iodide in the environment. Moreover, cloud seeding is a clear violation of the Stockholm Declaration of 1972, as its Principle 21 clearly states that a nation can exploit its resources as long as it does not affect the other countries. But cloud seeding affects the environment. And it is known to all of us that climatic changes do not respect nation or state boundaries. In India, under Environment Protection Act 1986, cloud seeding can be clearly banned by the central government. Also, according to the aforementioned points, cloud seeding in India is a violation of Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1981, Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974. In India, it is also a violation of sections 268 and 278 of the Indian Penal Code, making the atmosphere noxious to health and thereby affecting human life. Thus, it is clear that cloud seeding is unsafe for our ecosystem. In conclusion, I advocate for continued dialogue. Let's strive for a fair and balanced discussion. Together, we can build a better and brighter tomorrow for India. Thank you.
Thank you, Shubhangi. Do you have to ask a question? You have to ask a question. And your name is? Ardi Banerjee.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
So I had one question. In your speech, you mentioned that in China there was excessive of silver iodide poison. Yes. So that was a human mistake, not a mistake of cloud seeding. For example, if you are talking about if a road was made wrongly, would you ban roads overall? And yes, that's what I'm asking. So would you call it the fault of cloud seeding or the fault of the people who did it?
Look, definitely the humans are at fault, obviously, when we use cloud seeding. But cloud seeding, as all of us know, that it is a human-modified technology of bringing about rain. So the scientists have to be very precise about what they do, because it is clearly harmful for the environment because it releases silver iodide, which, as I mentioned in my speech, that it causes respiratory diseases and skin issues. But that was, be it a mistake of cloud seeding or be it a human mistake, it did cause issues to the people, like the citizens who were harmed due to respiratory issues and skin diseases, as I mentioned. So they suffered a loss, right? Thank you. And thank you so much for your question.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Have a nice day.
Thing that is coming up, I somehow suspect there will be very loud clapping because it's none other than Gokhale Memorial Girls School. Purvasha Aditya.
Imagine telling a parched farmer whose crops are on the verge of dying, "Sorry sir, we do have the innovation to help you out of the situation, but But since we don't want to mess with nature, you have to wait for a spontaneous dance of rain and watch your crops die. Well, the acrobatics of logic in the arguments of the opposition speakers are unfortunately hinting at this today. A very good morning to one and all present here. I am Purva Shaditya of Oakland Memorial Girls School, and I stand before you today completely supporting the motion of the House. In my opinion, the debate has already taken a very interesting turn today, with the opposition speakers contradicting themselves more than they have been contradicting the speakers of the proposition. Why? Because they have been painting a picture of impending doom, warning us of unforeseen circumstances, and criticizing the very innovation of cloud seeding for apparently meddling with nature, all the while lamenting over the fact that cloud seeding doesn't have the ability to produce raindrops out of thin air. I hope that the opposition speakers realize that their dissatisfaction over the fact that cloud seeding doesn't have long-lasting impact or cannot produce water droplets out of thin air actually suggests their desire for a more human-induced impact on the nature which they clearly dislike. Now coming to the arguments, there's something called the localized impact of cloud seeding, and it becomes extremely crucial when it comes to a country like India where there is so much of climatic and topographic variation. Secondly, I know a very weird comparison coming up, but I guess this is the simplest way to make people understand that cloud seeding is no Frankenstein monster wreaking havoc in the sky, manipulating the environment to a great extent. Take the example of babies. Babies need to be patted on their backs in order to make them burp, right? They have a mechanism to burp on their own, of course, but those pads act as little nudges to them that help them out rather than harming them in any way. Well, cloud seeding works in the exact same way. Cloud seeding also helps water vapor to transform into water droplets without harming the environment in any way. Cloud seeding is like our morning tea or coffee, energizing us and preparing us for an active day. And lastly, the very fact that cloud seeding strikes a balance between nature and technology is a testament of the fact that cloud seeding is the best solution among all the solutions that we seem to have today. We are not claiming that cloud seeding is the best solution for an eternity, no. But as of now, among all the solutions that we seem to have today, cloud seeding is definitely the best solution. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes. You haven't asked a question yet. I'll just give it to her. Please ask.
Yes, good morning. So, in the beginning of your speech, you said that cloud seeding helps the farmers in agriculture, as if they are waiting for the rains to happen, their crops can die and they can go into debt and further suicide. So, I would like to say the amount of chemicals that are used in cloud seeding have shown to further aggravate the situation of soil degradation. So, I am saying if the soil does not, if the soil is not fertile, then how will the farmers grow crops in their land? If the soil is dead, then how come cloud seeding's impact on the rain benefit the farmers if the soil is not there?
First of all, what if the soil is infertile from the beginning? Do we then blame the cloud seeding for it? Secondly, as you mentioned, yes, there are chemicals that are being used in cloud seeding, but again, those are monitored quite well. Studies have also shown that. Now coming to the fact that everything in this universe has probably got something, a negative effect or the negative aspect, right? Take the example of planting trees. We plant trees to combat deforestation, but planting trees at a large number also may result in displacing inhabitants of the region. So it is also posing a negative aspect or a negative threat to the environment. Take the example of giving birth to a child. You never know that child may become may turn out to be a serial killer in the future. Again, that is also posing a threat to the environment, right? So everything in this universe has got a negative aspect, but that doesn't mean we'll just go on and blaming technology for it.
Thank you. Coming up from the same school, which is unusually popular with the audience today, is Chandrima Shah.
মাঝে আছে দেশে এক সকল দেশের সেরা। India primarily has always been an agricultural country. And this new topic of cloud seeding, which is regarded as the best topic now, sounds very practical. Then why I, Chandrima Shaha of Gokhale Memorial Girls School, is standing against the motion for today. Bear with me, judges, as I present you the reasons. Why aren't we taking the examples of other countries? Don't we have our own? Why are you thinking that such an in topic, which is cloud seeding, which is so in the environment industry nowadays, why isn't India doing so much implementations and adapting to it? Whereas if we compare it to Dubai, USA, or even UAE and other countries like China, before it was mentioned, why are we comparing? Because in India, such techniques are really cost intensive. And for India, being a developing country, it's not a sustainable solution. I also feel that quoting something as the best solution also draws back attention from all other alternatives. Not just attention, but also resources. There should not be one, but there needs to be solutions which are multidimensional. Moreover, coming to the fact that cloud seeding does not take place in absolute drought conditions. So basically you are telling that you are stealing clouds from some other country. Is that so? Suppose a cloud was supposed to go to Pakistan and you suddenly stopped it for cloud seeding. And then you caused droughts and famines in that other country. Are you stealing? Really? Coming to the fact that you all stated the irony itself, that when on one hand you are telling that it is helping the environment, it is the savior for the environment, on the other hand you are using fossil fuels, burning them and degrading the condition of Mother Earth. Isn't that contradicting? The fact that the latest example of the Microsoft site crash also shows us and represents that how the overdependence, not dependence, overdependence and overdependence on technology is damaging the country. The fact that they were hardly able to manage the situation when technology went out of hand. Will the same thing happen during cloud seeding? What if technology fails? Will there be no rain? We should always have alternatives and should not only look at one thing as the best thing. Thank you.
In the beginning of your speech, you mentioned that if other countries are using, and forget about the other countries, why is India not using it? Well, before I ask my question, I'll remind you that in 2017 in Karnataka,
Ask your question, she'll remember everything.
but there have been many projects where cloud seeding has been used and have shown success. So why do you think that it has not been implemented in India?
According to the articles that I've read in Times of India and various other newspapers, scientists have said that this may have caused the rainfall, but they are not at all sure that it was the reason. If someone from the proposition has said that the Hiroshima Nagasaki incident also caused some of it was also harmful for the environment, so my members of the proposition are also telling that cloud seeding is also harmful, so adapt to harmfulness. Is that so?
Thank you. The next school is Haryana Vidya Mandir, and we have Swayam Roy Mondal speaking for the motion. You can clap.
I wish a very good morning to...
Just a second. We'll just...
Firstly, I wish a very good morning to all the eminent judges and teachers and my fellow opponents who are present here. Today, I will be speaking for the proposition that cloud seeding is the best option to resolve rainfall deficiency in India. First of all, in India, about 60% of the country suffers from shortage in rainfall, of which 31% suffers from bouts of rainfall deficiency and 8% suffers from absolute rainfall deficiency. Now, we know that rainfall is the cleanest source of water known so far, which is used to meet our regular demands, from drinking water facilities to cleaning machines and everything. Cloud seeding is one of the best solutions that India has come upon so far. Why? This is because in cloud seeding, the biggest misconception that people make is that they're making clouds, they're making it rain by itself. Well, the misconception to to clear the misconception, I will say it's no. The clouds are there, the rain droplets are there, but they are too loosely bound to fall as rain. That is why human beings are using salts which are silver iodide to bind these rainwater droplets to make it fall as rain. But to remind you that these silver iodide particles are precisely present in very small micrograms per liter. This is much smaller in quantity than that of the accepted threshold limit. Henceforth, researchers of different countries have concluded that this is not harmful for human beings nor even any other organism on earth. This was mentioned by BBC recently after Dubai flood. Also, another thing, the Dubai flood wasn't caused by cloud seeding. It was caused due to a natural weather phenomenon. Now, yes, cloud seeding is the best option for India. This is because cloud seeding can be used to supply water to arid areas. Even if there is no cloud, we can use this method to water the arid areas by bringing clouds from where it rains the most. It causes flood. Also, for a country like India, whose majority people depend upon agriculture as a source of income, cloud seeding is the most cost-effective way because each unit costs about 2 to 4 cents of American dollars. Whereas, bringing a wider a comparison to making dams, which are now our conventional method of countering water scarcity, it is a whooping $1,800 million. Thereby, drawing conclusion from our analysis, we can conclude safely that cloud seeding is the best alternative for India to counter rainfall shortages.
Thank you. And who has a question who hasn't asked before? Yes, we have to ask.
You said rainfall is one of the cleanest form of water. That is true. But what about cloud seeding? In cloud seeding, chemicals are mixed. So it's not just about rainfall. It's about pure and clean rain as well.
Firstly, a very good morning to you. Well, as I told you already, that the silver iodide which is present in the cloud seeding is only a few micrograms per liter. This can dissolve even while falling as rain. So, I think you would be wise enough to note that these small silver particles, which while dropping gets dissolved into the water into safe limits, is not actually harmful to the human beings. And this was concluded by the researchers of BBC and other researchers in this year, recently, after Dubai flood. Thank you.
Thank you, Swayam. The damage caused by cloud seeding in West Asia has been mentioned again and again. I'm very glad that both sides are engaging with reports for and against that incident and to identify the causality and the damage that it caused. Debating is a lot about engagement. I might come here with a prepared speech and my opponent says something which is very important. It's my duty to sacrifice part of my speech to engage that point. Because that's how you make the other side, that's how you convince the other side that you've made a point, but see, I am giving you an interpretation which makes that point either more relevant or irrelevant. So debating is a lot about engagement. And to take this engagement further, may I request Ashna Singh from Haryana Vidya Mandir to speak against the motion.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Ashna Singh from Haryana Vidya Mandir, and today the topic given to us is cloud seeding is the best option to resolve rainfall deficit in our country. And I'll be speaking against the motion. So what do we understand by the term cloud seeding? Cloud seeding is a technology which was originally adopted by America to resolve the rainfall deficit of the countries using chemicals. Yes, you heard me right, using chemicals. After hearing the word chemical, we have a negative ring in our ears. Well, we are not to blame because chemicals are actually very hazardous as well as very destructive to us all organisms. Cloud seeding uses silver iodide, and silver iodide, being a toxic heavy metal, actually enters our food chain and actually causes, and due to biomagnification, it due to biomagnification, it persists throughout, which causes a lot of destruction to us all human beings. The diseases caused by overconsumption of this metal is argyria, a skin disease, as well as thyroid diseases and mental retardants. Inhaling this metal can also cause lung diseases. And do you know, this causes devastating floods as well as waterlogging. And waterlogging results in birth of many waterborne diseases like malaria and dengue. And devastating floods cause a lot of loss of life as well as destruction of property. And since many of my fellow participants said that this is really important for the agriculture, I want to ask a question to everyone that can you give me 100% assurance that the rain will only pour on the crops and not on the adjoining streets, causing devastating floods? Well, the answer is no. No one can give 100% assurance that the rain will only pour on the crops and not on the adjoining streets. So, I just want to end this speech by one line that water is the main reason for our survival, but excess water can also cause the end of us. Be aware. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashna. You haven't asked a question yet, so please ask. Diksha. So I expect each one of you to ask a question for the sake of diversity and participation. Diksha, over to you.
A very good morning to you. So my question is, if you are so concerned about the demerits of how the concentration of silver iodide harms living beings, then how can you explain that the harm that already caused by ACs and refrigerators in the environment, which is the very reason why our country experiences shift in seasonal monsoon, leaving the primary sector levels of in great dismay? So what I think is drought consequences can kill, but the uses of sacrificing the ACs and refrigerators can't kill.
As you mentioned that ACs and refrigerators cause a lot of pollution, as you said, and silver iodide, being a toxic and heavy metal, as I added in my speech, it causes a lot of problems, and it also causes air pollution, water pollution, and land pollution, which is as same as refrigerators and ACs that you have mentioned. So I want to say, I have already mentioned it in my speech, that it causes a lot of problems, much more problems than ACs and refrigerators, and it also causes skin diseases like argyria, etc. So I hope it helps.
Thank you, Ashna. You know, Bangalore set a rule which said that if you have an air conditioner, because it spews out water from the drainage pipe, you should store that water. And just as an experiment, we tried it at home. You'd be surprised to know that each air conditioner actually generates about 25 liters of water, because we have measured, tabulated, but 25 liters of water every 7 to 7.5 hours of usage. So it just goes to show there are so many ways of extracting water from the environment, but water is different from rainfall. The motion says rainfall deficit. So we need to come back to discussing only rainfall deficit and not just a water deficit. Will be Sneha Chatterjee. Judges, please note the corrected name.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Sneha Chatterjee from Jyotirmay Public School, and I am here to talk about the topic cloud seeding. And I'm of course for it. And cloud seeding is basically the thing that is for the improvement of the country as well as for the rainfalls and snowfalls. And there are a lot of times we face drought in many parts of our country. And So in order to avoid that, there is an artificial raining system that is called cloud seeding, of course. So basically, cloud seeding maybe is it effective too much in our country till now, but other countries have faced something good, and there is a success rate, of course. But we can't just ignore the fact that we should not even try to have it. Like what we are going to do? Like, do we have any better solution other than cloud seeding when there is no rain? And considering this year's, if I take the example for this year, it has been it's really hot and there's hardly rain, and even if the rain is there, it's not sufficient. So how is that even going to help if we don't take up with the cloud seeding? And one of my opponents stated that if we follow other countries' methods or other countries doing cloud seeding and all, so are we stealing those type of things? And we are stealing. We can't say that we are stealing. Like, if we are getting goods from the other countries, maybe we are not buying it, but for help we are borrowing it. So how can we stealing it? Like, in good terms, we can say that we are borrowing it, right? So that's it for today. I think my time is up. So I had something more to say, but yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Sneha. We still have a little bit more time. Is there any other point that you'd like to mention? Or you'll go to the question answer session straight? Yeah, you have another 30 seconds or so.
So, sorry for the inconvenience. I still have 30 seconds. So, my final point will be the problems faced over here in our country majorly is pollution. Air pollution is there and all. So, our capital city, Delhi, has taken some initiatives. They are planning to take some initiatives about this cloud seeding, and they're going to move on with it. So I think it's a good initiative. So, and I totally support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sneha. Okay, you haven't asked a question yet. Please ask.
If we can't term it as stealing and term it as borrowing, you are asking before borrowing the clouds from some other country, taking the permission?
Thank you for your question. Firstly, I would say yes, borrow. Of course, I can't term it fully like borrowing, but how do we know that the cloud is bound to go somewhere else? How do we know that? How do we know that the cloud is from somewhere else, or can't we can't borrow it? Of course, but we can't term it as stealing.
Thank you. Thank you. That's your answer. Sneha is followed by Rajarshi Mondal. Yes. We have a long walk around the stage. We've covered 7 teams in this debate. Rajarshi is the 14th speaker, and I think you will agree that we've had a, please proceed, very interesting exchange of ideas, and I think the speeches are getting better. Which mic would you like to use? You can use any mic you like. Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. I am Rajarshi Mondal from Jyotirmay Public School. Today, I am going to speak against the motion of the topic rainfall deficit. Cloud seeding is the best solution, is the best option for solving rainfall deficit in India. So, I would like to begin with the most vital aspect of cloud seeding, which is the use of silver iodide. Silver iodide is a toxic element as stated by the Water Act. Moreover, this toxic element might have a very dangerous impact on the ecosystem. Everything has its own action and reactions. followed by my second point. It is absolutely very costly, as stated by the professor of IIT Kanpur, Professor Mahindra Agarwal. He stated that it would estimately cost around 1 lakh to cover an area of 1 kilometer square. Now, I am going to speak about the third and my last point. Though it might be some out of the topic context, but still I would like to mention it. During the 1970 Vietnam War, America used the cloud seeding technique. Yes, America used cloud seeding technique to induce rainfall in Vietnam, which caused a great problem and a messy situation for the Vietnam army to work. If such thing even happens in our country, it would be possible that our country also faces such similar situation in future if any war happens. God forbid, the war shouldn't happen anyway. Thank you. This was my speech.
Thank you, Rajesh. You are now to face a question. Who hasn't asked yet? You haven't asked yet, right? Second last, yes. Give her the mic, please.
You stated how cloud seeding is very costly, but is it costlier than the amount of money the farmers who are benefiting from this make?
Thank you for your question. I would like to answer that. Yes, obviously, what you pointed out is a great thing. The life of farmers are obviously most important, but we should always note that not only the farmers are the one and only citizen in our India. There are also many people, and the government policy must look after each and every context. Thank you.